Let's try putting the audio on. So there we go. Hey, everybody. This is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion. Sorry, it's been 6 days since I've done a live stream. So welcome. I'm glad everybody came by to check it out tonight. And tonight we're talking about, yes, Kurdistan. It's like, it's been on the news, like, some reason all of a sudden the liberals are like, oh, we got to save Kurdistan. We got to save the Kurds. And you see from the map there, that kind of encompasses a few countries that we necessarily don't necessarily want to have an independent Kurdistan. If you see, it kind of covers parts of our northern part of Iraq, part of the north eastern and into the western part of Syria, a good chunk of Turkey, and parts of Iran as well. And something tells me I don't think any of those countries are going to all get together and say, the last time they had a country was like, 870 years ago, and that's kind of been a little bit too long for them. We need to give them a country. We're going to give their own country again. So we're going to give up part of our land. Of course, in Iraq, we're going to give up the oil, and Syria, they're going to Turkey and Iran. They're all going to get together and say, hey, kumbaya, let's just give the Kurds their own independent country. Because, why not? What the hell? It's only been 870 years. I don't know. I guess we can go back a little bit further. You can go back a little bit further, and we can say, I don't know. Shoot, I don't know. We can go back. You go back less than that. Go back to the Byzantine Empire. Let's restore the Byzantine Empire because we haven't seen the Byzantines in a while. We're gonna change the name back from Istanbul back to Constantinople, and let's do that too. Why not? It's like, hey, and then somehow because we were nice enough to arm them. They were fighting ISIS. Okay, ISIS were their arch enemies. They were fighting ISIS. Okay, we're fighting ISIS. We don't like ISIS either, and we gave them arms. We gave them all kinds of logistical support. We gave them bombing raids. We gave them men on the field. We gave them money. They were so faithful to their cause. They had to get paid anyway. Give them money. And then we say, okay, well, we're done with ISIS. We didn't tell them we're going to be there forever. We said, hey, look, we're here to get rid of ISIS, and you're fighting the same enemy. Here, have some guns and some training and whatever else you need. The Turks weren't real happy to begin with about that whole arrangement anyway, because they knew once we armed and trained these guys, they're going to be better fighters to fight against them, because they've been fighting, against the Turks for a long time. They've been committing acts of terrorism, airport scenes, shooting, killing, bombing people in airports, the roads, whatever, you name it. They've been trying to get an independent country. So, we're like, we got 1,000 guys left there. It's like, we're there to protect, these people. And right now they're parked in northern Syria. Well, that's not their country. That's Syria's. That's the country of Syria. And yeah, they've been involved in a civil war, but that doesn't mean you get to say, well, you've been involved in a civil war, so I know the war is over, but we're going to keep the land. Well, that's up to the Syrians to decide. That's not our business. That's not our fight. And, if it wasn't for the fact that, President Trump has to be in the White House, I guarantee you everybody would be jumping up and down and getting the hell out of there. But it's like, oh, well, Trump wants to get the people out, so it's got to be bad. If it was anybody else, it was a Democrat president. If it was Barack Obama saying we have to leave, it'd be like, yeah, well, great, let's go. But no, he says it, so of course it's bad. But normally it would be good for everybody. Everybody would say, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get out of there. These people have been fighting for centuries. That's not our fight. It's not for us to get involved in. Let's let them sort it out. The Kurds need to make a deal with the Syrians and figure out what they're going to do. They're already making deals with the Iraqis. The Iranians, I don't think they're going to try to make a deal with them because I don't think they're going to be listening at all. So they probably need to scoot out of there sometime soon. I don't think they want to run into the Iranian army. That it's not going to be very pleasant for them. Let's put it that way. So. It's not our fight, and I pulled up a little bit of history on this, and this is from a pro, Kurdistan group, but they had they had good facts in there, some good history, and within the history you can find some interesting facts because they kind of have to admit, some ties to the Soviet Union back in the 20s, because like after World War I and we defeated the Ottoman Empire. It was part of the Axis powers, Germany. Let's see who else was there? Germany, Turkey. I think Italy was also part of it in World War. I can't remember now. No, it wasn't. It was Germany. Sorry, God, World War I. Germany, Turkey, and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. And so Turkey was part of that, and so Turkey lost to the British. Remember the whole Lawrence Arabia thing, driving up to Damascus, the horses and all that good stuff. But anyway, so they lost, and they figured, hey, since they're down and out, we can grab our land. And the League of Nations was formed, and you had the Treaty of Versailles over there in Paris, and they were all carving up the Middle East. And Kurds were like, hey, what about us? And the British were like, well, no. And so the British were like, no, we're taking that. We fought for it. We're keeping it. And the British and the French pretty much, divvied up the Middle East there, and they weren't having any part of the Kurds. And so that was like 1924, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But they even mentioned within that they had been receiving support from the at the then Soviet Union, the communists, and they were pretty much communists, Marxist communist stuff like that. So that was their deal. Hey TB, how you doing there? Good seeing you down there. So I mean that's again, it's their fight. They want their own country back from these four other countries that they say they have a right to from 1149 AD. And again, that's not where we have to lose America. We lost 5 Americans over there this year. I mean, that's like, ooh, that's not a lot. Well, no, it is a lot. That's like, if that was your brother, your son, or your father, or your somebody, your cousin, or a friend, or even if you didn't know the guy, it's still an American. What did he die for? He died for an independent Kurdistan? Really? Most people, I had to dig to find this map. Most people, most people couldn't even find. If you tell them, well, where is Kurdistan? Where was it? And when was it? I mean, unless you do some research, you don't know where it is. It's not like it's like, oh yeah, Kurdistan. No, it's not anything. You don't know where it is. So let's see. Let's see what does it say here. Well, that's okay. you, you could have left that comment up. That's okay. Right. But all right. Well, whatever. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, you don't know. I mean, it could be whatever. So yeah. But anyway, good deal. But anyway, so let's see what I was gonna say. All right. So let's see. We got here in the chat. I see Rocky there in the chat. I see the great informers in the chat as well. And let's see who else we got in there. And I saw some people. Some people came from H.A. Goodman's site. H.A. was really generous, very kind. Last night, he gave me a big shout out on his channel, and his moderators, Eric over there. They put the link to my channel in their chat room. I thought it was really cool. HA, I've been watching him for a while now. I know a lot of you guys watch HA Goodman also, and he gave me he was really cool. It was like really nice because he's got like 100 and like 60, 70,000 subs on one channel and a whole bunch on the other one. And it was nice that he gave me a nice shout out and stuff. He watched one of my videos, and he even commented on it that he liked it. He liked the production on it and everything. So I mean, I thought that was really kind. It was really nice, really very generous. Something he didn't have to do, and I really appreciate it. So if you haven't been on H.A. Goodman's site, yeah, I mean, somebody put a link in there. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's on my site is on his site because we pretty much, all of us on here, we pretty much, oh, well, this one can go. There we go. Up. So it looks like somebody got, yeah, somebody got, good job on the troll hunting. Good job. So, excellent. Yep. Okay. Well, hey, they make it fun. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, so it's kind of fun. We got a lot of blue wrenches out there, so we're pretty good on here. We zap them pretty quick. They don't stick around. They don't get to stay around very long. They'll come back though. Just they'll come back using different accounts and stuff like that. These are a lot of these guys. Some of these guys are professional, some aren't. But you know the drill. It's like when I first got started, they really kind of go after you to try to knock you out before you get up to speed and you know what you're doing and you got everything wired and stuff. But coming the other way, let's see. But yeah. But yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious though. That's good. But yeah, great informer. If you want to do the VMix video call, just say yeah, man. I'll do the VMix video call. I'll send you a link, and we'll get John in here. Let's see the trolls go toe to toe. He'll take him down. And I saw what's her name was talking about calling in Pro Life America, talking about calling in, but she's trying to get her computer up. Yeah, a lot of times what happens with this live streaming software, whether you use vMix or StreamYards or other software, sometimes it doesn't always play nice with your laptop. Especially what I notice is if you get like an update, on your own software that's on your laptop, not just a Windows update, but actually like the computer itself, like whether it's Dell or somebody. Then suddenly it changes over, and then sometimes you have to like just reload. You have to uninstall the streaming software and then reload the streaming software after the update. I know it's stupid. It's a pain in the ass. I've checked on it. I've done a diagnostic test and said, oh, get rid of this, and you get rid of those things, and you still have the same problem. You have to just kind of reload it. So yeah, it's just one of those glitches. It kind of goes with the territory. The trolls drown a fish in water. Yeah, that's pretty good indeed. But let's see here. Okay, so let's jump over to some other stories we're going to cover here tonight. But I did want to get to this Kurdish thing because it's like again, you talk in their history again, going back to in fact, let me pull the one story up real quick here. Let's see. All right, so this is, let me get this. This is from the Institute Kurd de Paris, of Paris. And again, this is a pro Kurdistan site for the defense of a 1,000-year-old culture in peril, the Kurds, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, it's a pro Kurdistan site. But, hey, man, I guess if I was a displaced people, I'd probably want my own country back again. I understand it, but again, it's not our fight. We don't need to be dying for them. If they want to fight and die for what they believe in, as long as it doesn't affect us, it's none of my business. Now, if it starts affecting us and it starts messing with us, or they start messing with us, well, then game over. I mean, and then the heck with them. They can go by the way they can go the same way ISIS went. Exactly. So anyway, this talks about the history here. It goes back all the way to 612 BC, like I put up on the pre-screen before. They started their empire in 612 BC. I mean, it's like a long time ago, like 2,600 years ago. And actually when they start their time, so they start their calendar, and so in their calendar it's the year 2601. That's interesting. You see that there for them. For them we are present at 2601. I mean, they even got the year wrong. I mean, we want to tell you. So anyway, they go all the way down here and they talk about what they're up to and everything, and it goes through the whole history all the way through the 1830s, and then when you get to the irrelevant part, it's funny when you look at Wikipedia and you look for the history of the Kurds. They start like in 1924. Because they're trying to say, oh, they were like a country until then. They make it sound like that, like we're supposed to be doing something. It's like, no, they weren't a country until 1924. They tried to become a country again in 1924, and here we go. Let's see. They had a lot of infighting and all kinds of problems. Let's see. 1923, new treaty signed. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Thus, at the end of 1925, the country of the Kurds, known as the 12th century by the name Kurdistan, found itself divided between four states: Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. This was after World War I, after the Treaty of Versailles, the League of Nations, and a couple of treaties with the British and the French, when they drew the map, which gave you, the countries, the borders of Iraq, Syria, Iran, Lebanon, etc. Let's see. So anyway, so it found itself divided between four states: Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria, and for the first time in its long history, it was even to be deprived of its cultural autonomy. And they go on, about more propaganda, But again, if I was a displaced person, I want my country back. I don't know, maybe I want it. I mean, I'm half Italian. I'm not looking for the Roman Empire to start up again. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how far back do you have to go? So anyway, let's go back here to the rally from last night. I watched the rally last night. I recorded some parts of it. I know a lot of you guys probably seen it already, but this was a story here in the Washington Times. Trump takes aim at the Bidens. Ilhan Omar in first rally since impeachment probe. And I mean, I watched it. He was on fire. I mean, he was coming out swinging for the fences. It was almost like, I was thinking of this on the way home today from work. It was like, enough's enough. Like when I mean, this guy, every time he turns around, even pulling our troops out of Syria, oh, no, Trump wants it, it must be bad. It's like, no, I mean, you guys were all in favor of pulling troops out of the Middle East and stopping these stupid wars forever. And now, because he wants it, you're going to be automatically against it. It's like this knee-jerk reaction. Just don't take a position against something because the guy you don't like is for it. I mean, that's childish. I mean, God, how do you live your life like that? I have no idea. One thing you can't say, well, we're against wars and against sending our troops overseas to stupid wars. And then Trump goes, "Yeah, I agree with you." And he goes, "Oh, wait a second, you agree with me? That must be bad. I better change my mind on that." It's like, what are you, stupid? you know, it doesn't make any sense. See, you just have to take precautions. But anyway, so all right, so let's take a look at this story. All right. So President Trump told supporters Thursday night at the Democratic candidate Joe Biden was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass. It took him at Minnesota's influx of and took aim at Minnesota's influx of Somali refugees, including liberal Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar. In his first campaign rally since the Democrats launched an impeachment inquiry against him, Trump went after Biden and his son Hunter over the younger Biden's lucrative deals with the Ukrainian gas company and with China while the father was vice president. To a packed arena of 20,000 in Minneapolis, he broke a record, by the way, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Trump said, "I want to see Hunter ask these questions. You know nothing about anything, frankly, Hunter. You're a loser. Why did you get 1.5 billion from China?" Now, one thing he didn't also say, he didn't go into was, and also you're a crackhead, So yeah, the Chinese weren't going to give this guy 1.5 billion to a crackhead unless they thought he could buy some influence with his father, and it sounds like he did. And Trump kind of alluded to that a little bit last night. I wish he would have gone more into it, where he's saying, "Hey, look, Biden was put in charge of China, like dealing with China, make sure we had good trade policies, and they weren't stealing our technology." And meanwhile, he didn't do a damn thing. Why? Because he took his son over there, and they knew, well, we'll give you your son 1.5 billion, and then we'll get to steal 400 billion from the United States. To them, to the Chinese, that's a good deal. And meanwhile, Biden, it wasn't like Biden, okay, Biden, don't do this. He said, Biden, just don't do anything, and we'll pay your son money and your family money. And they're like, well, okay, I'll just sell it to the American people for 1.5 billion dollars, like 30 silver dollars. Why not? And that's what he did. He didn't care. What did he care about the American worker, the American people for? He just wanted to get his son, his crackhead son, who weird decided to have sex with his, dead brother's, widow. I guess that was his form of therapy. And it's funny, he blamed it on the drugs. Oh, the drugs made me do it. Oh, really? Okay. yeah. Oh, sure. All right. Yeah. And then this widow, who the hell is she? I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. Let me just have sex with my dead husband's brother. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to do. I can call in after you, great, if you don't mind, if we call in together. Yeah, pro-life. Let you know, I can do a phone call show. I can do a phone call, through the phone call number, and I can do that while I have video callers on at the same time. So if you want to do a video call, I can bring in multiple video calls. If you want to do a phone call, you can call in, and I can bring great informer. I can bring you guys both in at the same time. So that's fine. Don't worry about it. I mean, you can. That's I have the technology now. If it doesn't work, then it was a technology. No, it was me. If it doesn't, if I screw it up, then I screw it up. But no, I can bring in a video caller. I can bring in video callers and one phone caller at the same time. So that's not an issue. Don't even worry about it. So if you want to call in, call in. Great informer. You want me to send you a link? I'll shoot you a link. In fact, let me just shoot you a link right now. Hold on. Let me get it over here. Let's find it. Let's see. There we go. So, boom. There you go. So you got a link coming your way. You got a link. It's on its way. Oh, okay. Oh, Phil, you're in Tennessee. Okay. All right, let me change these headsets here real quick. All right, there we go. So all changed. All right. So let me get Dirtbag's phone thing ready down here. Call. Boom. All right. So, Great Informer's phone is ready to go, and you should be able to hear him when he comes in. Got his audio turned up, so should not be a problem. Let's make sure we got this set up here. Yep. Alrighty. Okay. So yeah, pro-life. You want to call in? That's fine. I can take the phone call at the same time. I can do video call-in. So yeah, it took me a couple of months to figure that one out, and then yeah, I've been doing that. I've done that a couple times already, so that's not a problem. Hey, everybody like the new headphones I got? By the way, totally cool. Really like them. Anyway, really nice. So all right, so let's get back to this story here. All right, so back to, let's see. In his first campaign, this is regarding the Trump rally in Minnesota last night, which I watched, really good. In his first campaign rally since Democrats launched an impeachment inquiry against him, Mr. Trump went after Mr. Biden and his son Hunter over the younger Biden's lucrative deals with the Ukrainian gas company with China while the father was vice president to a packed arena of 20,000 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mr. Trump said, "I want you to see Hunter. Ask these questions. You know nothing about anything, frankly, Hunter, and you're a crack addict, and you're a loser. Why? Well, I like when he calls him a loser. That's so cool. Why did you get 1.5 billion from China, Hunter?" Mr. Trump went on, and your father was never considered smart. He was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass. It was Trump's fourth trip to Minnesota. He stated he narrowly lost to Hillary Clinton by 1.5 percentage points. Really close race in 2016 and is campaigning hard to win next year. Republican hasn't won the state in a presidential election since 1972. They only had one campaign staff, paid staff member in Minnesota, and I think they only spent something like $50,000 or something. They were saying it was some real minuscule number. I forget what it was, but it was like next to nothing. And they almost won the damn state. If they had put some real money and time into Minnesota, who knows, they could have picked it up, and then it would have been really slam dunk. See you later, have a nice night. That would have been really a nice number to come out of. So the president was visiting the district of Somali-born Miss Omar. It actually, yeah, the stadium is actually in her district, with whom he has been feuding continuously this year. He didn't miss the opportunity to blast the freshman lawmaker in her own backyard during his 90-minute-plus speech. He told Minnesotans of the liberal Omar's election in 2018, "I know you people. How the hell did that ever happen?" Congressman Omar is an American-hating socialist, Trump said. She minimized the September 11th attack on our homeland. She pleaded for compassion for ISIS recruits right here in Minnesota. I know, she did, because she was pleading with... Yo, hey, man, how you doing? All right,
hey,
hold
what's
on,
up?
man.
I'm sorry.
Nah,
How you been? God,
doing
it's been a
good.
while.
Yeah, let me
Sorry.
cut you over here. All right, and we got the great informer on here with us tonight, and good seeing you. Yeah, I haven't been on since last Saturday, the last time I did a live stream, so totally good seeing you again. So what have you been doing? You been working, or you haven't been
Oh,
following much of the news?
no, I've been working all week. I mean, I've been working literally all week, long hours. I've been catching bits and pieces of the news. I know that, what is it, Shepard Smith retired from Fox News after, what was it, William Barr had talked to Rupert Murdoch.
Well, yeah, the story last night was that, and I didn't go live last night, but I saw one of the stories that H.A. Goodman covered it last night. In fact, that was his
Yeah.
headline that William Barr was talking to Rupert Murdoch. That was the theme. That was the title of his show last night, and I was watching the show. I've been real busy, and just by the time I get done doing everything, I was really wiped out. But I've been watching the show all week. So last night he had the story. William Barr talks to Rupert Murdoch, and then today Shepard Smith resigns. That's kind of interesting timing
Hmm.
on how that went down.
Yeah. Well, what's happening is we're seeing, I mean, I
Oh wait,
remember a while back
hold
when we
on,
talked.
hold on, Carl. Don't see the email. Did you try to link? Oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to bring Pro Life America in here. So we're going to have we'll do three. So hold on, let me get that set up real quick.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get here. Let's see. All right, so let me get this. Yeah, hold on, Pro Life. Let me get you. Let me get set up here. There we are. Some pros up here.
You know, Carl, I gotta say, these trolls, I don't know, It's like now they're following me on Parlor. Come on, people, you got anything better to do with your time, you know?
Yeah, I know. Really, huh?
You know, it's funny. I think they're following me over to Renee Thomas's site as well.
Oh, really? Here, hold on. Let
Yeah.
me get Pro Life her email here. Let's see if I can find her. I haven't sent her an email in forever. Let me see if I can look it up here. See, she was under forbidden, wasn't it?
Everyone in the chat see me okay?
There we go. Let's see. Forbidden. Okay, hold on. Friday night. All right. Boom. All right. So I just sent her link off. So hopefully she'll be getting that soon. Let me put that in there. Let's see. Pro Life.
It's funny, Carl. It didn't take them long to figure out that the great, that some of them think the great informant and the great D-bag are like two different people, and I'm like, are these people really this dense?
Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, no. Actually, I think they are. It's Trump. It's the Trump derangement syndrome. It's the Trump derangement
Yeah,
syndrome. It's
yeah.
really kind of crazy. I've never seen anything like it. H.A. Goodman was talking about that. He talks about it all the time. He goes, if you run into somebody with Trump derangement syndrome, don't try to talk to him because he runs into that with his friends and family that he's known for years, and he says you're not going to be able to talk to them. They're not going to want to talk to you. They they
Yeah.
they're and I've never seen it in my entire adult life, and I've been following politics since early '70s and debating people since the early '70s on all kinds of political issues, and people who I've known for years and who have respected my opinion for years and who've trusted me for years, if they have that Trump derangement syndrome, they don't want to hear a word I have to say, and it's weird. I mean,
Yep.
it's strange.
Yep.
And Goodman was talking about. He talked about that for the last couple of weeks. I've been watching it. He's been talking about that, and he can't figure it out either. And I think he was like running into problems with his family and not just his friends, but his family also sounded like, and it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, wait a second. I
What?
mean, look, if you hate the guy, fine, but like this whole thing with pulling the troops out of Syria, liberals always up. There you are. See,
Mm-hmm.
pro-life America. There you go. Hey, pro-life, how you doing? Can you hear us?
Good, good, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Great informer. Can you hear pro-life?
Yeah, I can
Yep.
hear.
I
Yeah.
I
Ah,
plugged in.
fantastic. All right, very good. So how you doing tonight, Miss Pro-life?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling better. I think I had a 24-hour bug or something. Could have caught something on the train or when I was in DC, but I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
Yeah, great informer. Have you been on her site since she got back from DC?
I haven't been to a lot of people's sites in a while. I've been, I haven't even been on. I've been around sites, different sites, but I haven't been. I mean, people are live streaming at different times of the day, and a lot of times I could,
Yeah,
when I'm at work, I pop in, hey, what's
it's
up,
hard.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
hard.
so
So many
so
great
uh,
I
channels
mean,
out there.
so pro-life. How was your trip to
yeah.
DC? Did you say you ran into some of the people from the Black
Staff
Conservative
members?
Summit?
Mhm.
Yeah, I did. I was given some handshakes. I had this really cool video, but at the time I was trying to use Steam Labs on my phone and it kept buffering. So I don't know if I can fix it. But anyways, it was pretty cool to bump into that crowd. But what was amazing was the safety and the kindness from the Senate and Congress staff members.
Oh, no
Carl, let me
kidding.
just tell you something.
Hmm.
They were so kind, and they knew a lot about the bill, about the born alive abortion bill, which means if babies are being born after failed abortions, that we want to save these babies. And it's really informative to see how well staff of the Congress and Senate know so much, and they work so very hard. And I was offered a private tour of the Capitol. And you want to know my best part of just the whole thing of DC was the Holocaust Museum,
Uh,
and then sitting in the seats right where President Trump, right in front where President Trump gave his State of the Union speech. That was awesome.
Excellent, excellent. So were you able to actually meet with any Congress people or just their staff?
No, they're just their staff members and stuff like that. I heard rumors that Nancy Pelosi was in and out. You know how she likes to get famous on TV. But
Right.
I wasn't even going to bother. If I would have saw her, I probably would have went to jail. Because I'm
Oh,
just very angry with these Democrats. It's disgusting what they're doing to the people. And it's not just about abortions. It's about our Second Amendment, our First Amendment, our Constitution, our country. And they don't care about any of it or
no,
protecting it.
No, no, they don't.
no, no.
It,
I've been
uh-huh.
watching the this whole impeachment charade, and it's really sickening. And like before she even read the transcript, and Trump brought this up at the rally last night and today. She did that TV announcement about we're going to start the impeachment inquiry before she even read the transcript of the phone call. I mean, she didn't even have the transcript yet. If she just waited a day or so, if she wanted to make that pitch after she read the phone call transcript, that's one thing. But for her just to make that pitch before, I mean, it just showed her to be at a minimum disingenuous. And
Oh, yeah.
then I watched the interview with
Yeah.
Stephanopoulos too, where he said, "Hey, are you okay with Schiff making up that phone call thing while he was on, sitting at the committee hearing?" She goes, "Oh no, what he said was true." And then Stephanopoulos was like, "No, what he said wasn't true. He made it up. That wasn't in the transcript." And she goes, "Oh yeah, it was." And he looks at her like, "Lady, are you on crack?" I was like, "What was?" Either she's on crack or she's demented or she's evil, or a little of the above. I don't know.
Speaking of Adam Schiff,
Yeah.
that took me, everything in me, Carl, not to go in that office because his office is right next to Congressman Tom Reed's. And I'm sitting there like, should I go in there or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? Like I wanted to, but I didn't.
you should have gone in. You
Are
should have
they
gone.
even in
You
their
know what?
I know.
office?
You might have got a chance to talk to
Yeah.
him. You might have got a chance to talk to him. That would
You
have been
know,
cool.
did you see that? Did you see that video of the guy? Forget the guy's name. I think it was Liberty. Liberty. I think it was one of the, I forget what YouTube channel it was, but the guy who he was talking to Elizabeth Warren and he wanted his reparations right now, and she's looking at him like
Hmm.
smiling. She's like trying to get away from him. Did you see that video?
No, it was like it was
I thought
like a spoof
I
video. Like he walks up and he's talking to Elizabeth
yeah.
Warren. Oh,
Well,
okay.
no,
No, I
he
didn't see
literally
that.
he literally walked up to her. He literally walked up to her and was demanding for he was asking for his reparations. He's like, "Can
No
I have
way.
them now?" Yeah, that was hilarious. He was trolling Elizabeth Warren really, really good. But Carl, what we're seeing here is we're seeing the more the Democrats investigate Trump, the more they expose their crimes. They Biden Biden's 1.5 billion dollars from China, his son, the firing of that who was it, the inspector general during Obama's presidency, when it's
Right.
looking into the business dealings with that company that Joe Biden's son sat on, or the board of directors. They were paying the board of directors. But
Yeah.
I tell
Yeah.
you what, you know, this is all pointing back to one thing, and that's the globalist new world order is falling apart. It is falling apart right before our very eyes. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw I don't know if you saw Disabled Vets Perspectives video today. I shared it out on my wall in Parlor, where he was talking about the blackouts, right? And the blackout they believe were done on purpose because I think they're passing. I think I don't know if they declared martial law or not, but I think
Wait,
it's
wait,
going to
wait, wait,
allow the
wait, wait.
conservative strong.
Wait in California that you not.
Yeah, Northern California where they had those blackouts.
Wait. I have not heard anything about anybody declaring martial law, though. I haven't
No,
heard
no,
about that.
that it's almost like, I it's getting to the point where they would declare martial law because I guess those fires are I haven't followed a lot about
Yeah,
it. I
now
was just watching
there's like one fire. There's like one fire in Southern Cal, and
mhm,
that I'm aware of. That's down like in the valley, I think. And then the blackouts
mhm,
out up Northern California. I mean, how they can get away with that is amazing. But see, here's the problem. I think what they do well, I know what they do with the gas tax in California. We talked about this. Like normally, like most states, you have a gasoline tax, and that goes to pay for like the highways and road construction and stuff, right? To expand roads and stuff like that. Well, in California, they spend so much money on a bunch of other crap. Free health care for illegal aliens, and and a bunch of money for homeless people, and all this other crap. That what they did years ago, they took the gasoline tax and instead of keeping it in a separate fund for highway construction and stuff like that, they stuck it into the general fund. So now it's in the general fund, gets mixed in with all the other crap, and then they have a budget that goes back out to like highway, like Caltrans, their highway reconstruction projects. So they don't get the full money from the gas tax, and I think they charge taxes like on the utilities too. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that goes into the general fund also. So they don't have the money to be able to repair those high power lines and stuff like that. And they eventually, you saw with Paradise, last year. Paradise, California lost 80 people, died in a fire. I mean, you're not supposed to lose 80 people in a fire. I mean, this isn't a third world country. 80 people died. A lot of them died in their cars. So, I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's what's going on. I mean, no other state that I'm aware of has blackouts, as rolling blackouts, rolling brownouts. I'm not aware of any other state
yeah,
that has one. But they have them up there in Arcata. Some
mhm,
of the places up there, like Arcata, that's where the Cal State University at Humboldt County is. Humboldt,
mhm,
it's beautiful up
yeah,
there. And that they
mhm.
just the
I
schools had to shut
mhm.
down. The kids had to be sent home. I mean, it's crazy insane. It's crazy insane. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like mhm.
Go ahead.
It's like that. Oh no, it's like because California is a liberal stronghold, and it's going to be this petition that they got to try and recall Gavin Newsom, whether or not it goes anywhere. I mean, it's exceeding expectations, but whether or not they can actually get Gavin Newsom out of office remains to be seen. I don't know if they're gonna.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna have a. I mean, Soros is gonna intervene in that. I know Soros is going to intervene in that. He's gonna, some of these
Yeah.
left wing groups in California, they're gonna have because they got to get, I guess the what was it the California court, I guess they approved it. Was it the state assembly approved it? I believe, but I'm sure that they're going to have some turncoats at the last minute and say, well,
Right.
we can't do this, or they're just going to throw the petition out the window. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get Gavin. Even if they get enough signatures, how are they going to get recall him? You know, it's it's.
Now,
I mean,
now, isn't California strong enough, though, Carl, in your mindset that California could actually change back to Republican state? Because here's my thinking. I've talked to a lot of people from California on social media, and they tell me in their towns it's pretty much a very small majority of conservatives. But there's a lot of people who are fed up. But the question is, are they fed up enough to stop voting for these Democrats who put the state in the positions that they're in? Especially the crisis that you guys went through in the state of California when those recent fires and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
they got to
yeah,
get their act
yeah,
together.
yeah. I don't live in
yeah,
California.
they do.
I live in Nevada. But as far as changing the state red, I don't know.
There's not enough conservatives.
I can't. I mean,
Yeah.
Orange County. Hell, even Orange County. Every congressman in Orange County just went blue, and those seats have been held by conservatives for over 50, 60 years, but by Republicans at least, not necessarily
Yeah, we've
conservatives.
seen we've
But
seen like New York do the same. Sad.
yeah, I mean, Orange County.
Well,
Nobody could
mhm,
believe it this year. Orange County now. Every congressional race in Orange County went Democrat. I mean, it was the most unbelievable thing in the world.
mhm.
And plus you got to remember something
Well,
else. They do have a lot
mhm,
of voter fraud there. They have a lot of voter fraud,
yes,
and here's the
yeah,
problem: the people in charge of policing the voter fraud are all Democrats. Secretary of State and the state attorney general,
mhm,
they're Democrats, so they're not really investigating it too much. There's a lawsuit. In fact, I can pull this up. Let me. Judicial Watch
That'd be
filed a law.
interesting
I
to
think,
look at.
Yeah, Judicial Watch filed a
yeah,
lawsuit.
they
Let me see if
were
I can
they were
get my hands on
successful,
it.
I think. Yeah, Judicial Watch won
Yeah.
that. They got to clean up their voter rolls. 1.5 million. They got to get them on.
So a
I
lot of
mean,
cheating there.
that's going to probably. Yes, there is. Yeah, but I think it's going to probably take them about what, a year or two to clean all that up. I mean,
He came all the way
who
to
knows
Buffalo
when-
too and exposed Erie County. I remember he flew all the way from Buffalo because a guy in Florida was voting in Florida, and then he flew all the way to Erie County in Buffalo and voted also. And the Project Veritas guy went right into the building. Remember that video? And it's like they didn't even care.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, Carl,
story.
post it. I would like to see that.
Let's see if I can got it. Let's see. Yeah, you guys go ahead. I'm just going to see. I'm going to look for this story real quick.
No, you know, I'm telling everybody they got to get on Parler, because once Twitter purges conservative accounts, if they ever do go that far, you know, you're going to need a backup place, and you're going to want to build your following as quickly as possible. So get on Parler. I mean,
okay. I think I'm on there. I just got to figure out how to get back on there.
Well, all you got to do. Well, if you download the app from the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store, the only thing is you're subject to the algorithms of whatever. I mean, you're going to be subject to Google algorithms no matter what. But one of the ways that seems to help me when I post over there and I put a hashtag, I'll put like 2 or 3 hashtags, and that seems like it gets the post out there, and people look at it and see it. But if you don't put any hashtags, it's like people just don't see it or don't echo it. But Parler, I encourage everybody I encourage everybody in the chat to get on Parler.
Oh, I am. I'm Forbidden Info 45. I forgot. There I am right there. I just opened it up. Cool. Thank you. I forgot about that because I noticed that Twitter's even starting to censor my pro-life content, especially if I share it from liveaction.org, because Lila Rose even admitted that right when in front of President Trump, when she was at the White House, admitted her own organization is censored. And anytime I share from her page, I'm censored too. It's crazy.
All right, guys, here's a story from immigrationreform.com. It was from about 2 weeks ago, and it talks about, you guys should be able to see it on your screens in real time. For pro-life, you see it there? Failure to ensure non-citizens don't vote lands California in court. You should be able to see it on the same camera that you can see us on.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, here's a story from October 8th. So anyway, in 2015, California Secretary of State Alex Padilla proudly proclaimed that legislation he sponsored, the California New Motor Voter Act, would make our democracy stronger by allowing millions of citizens to be automatically registered to vote when applying for a state ID or driver's license. Nothing should go wrong there. In fact, according to a lawsuit filed last week, it is Padilla who is undermining democracy by violating federal law by implementing the motor voter law without safeguards in place to ensure non-citizens are not placed on the state's voter rolls as well. In direct violation of his duties to ensure that only eligible voters are placed on the voter rolls, California Secretary of State, Democrat, Alex Padilla has established a pattern and practice of doing nothing to verify that a potential voter is a U.S. citizen, thus causing non-citizens to be placed on the voter rolls. Reads a complaint filed by well-known Republican lawyer Harmeet Dillon. Filed on behalf of 3 California voters, including 2 naturalized citizens, the lawsuit also names Director of California Department of Motor Vehicles Steve Gordon as a defendant, while the state law stipulates that the Secretary of State is solely responsible for determining eligibility for voter registration. Padilla's office has argued in previous exchanges with the plaintiffs that it simply requires voters to attest to their voting eligibility, according to KQED News. Under California's law, an individual is automatically registered to vote unless they opt out of the process. So when you get your driver's license, a lot of times, you know, even if you're not intending to vote when you shouldn't, the way the forms are written up, that it automatically registers you unless you say, hey, by the way, I'm not a citizen. Well, most people aren't going to volunteer that, and then if they're there, maybe they don't give a shit, or maybe they want to vote. Who knows? But it's just the way the form is
Yeah.
set up. Padilla issued a statement in which he claimed Dillon's argument was a fundamental misrepresentation of the National Voter Registration Act and nothing more than an underhanded attempt by Republicans to bring their voter suppression playbook to California. Bullshit. Anyway, Padilla's desire to deflect scrutiny away from the motor voter program is understandable, but indefensible, considering its extremely flawed history, including a damning audit released weeks before the lawsuit. The audit, which was completed in March but released in August, found nearly 84,000 duplicate records and twice that number of political party mistakes in the 5 months, just 5 months. They had 84,000 duplicate records and twice the number of political party mistakes in 5 months of program that were examined. That was just an audit. That was just a rough audit. Concerns about the potential for inadvertent or intentional voter fraud were raised even before April when the program started. According to the Modesto Bee, a newspaper, prior to April 18th launch, concerns were brought to the attention of state officials, including Padilla, but they chose to go ahead anyway. Because they don't care. See, they're just hoping to get non-U.S. citizens to be able to vote. They're hoping to get illegal aliens to vote, so they'll vote Democrat and they'll totally fill the state up. Yeah, and the registrar of L.A. County said, "Go ahead." No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say the globalists are throwing everything on the table. They're going full force because the whole goal they gotta stop Trump in 2020, or else everything that they have set up will go down the drain even further. But we all know that they're, yeah, we do. We have got to win the House. And one thing that conservatives who hear me say this, they need to get off their butts and get out and vote for the candidate. Yeah, they do. I mean, I'm sorry, Carl. I know I say this all the time, but yeah, because these conservatives who stay home and throw a fit because their candidate didn't win the primary, they're worse than the progressive liberals. They are worse than the. I mean, oh my gosh.
I always say the people that stay home and not vote too also elect a Democrat, because we already know dead people elect Democrats, and the people who don't go home to vote automatically they're voting Democrat, and they don't even realize it. People need to wake up as right. Even though our great president can win his second term, if we lose the House, even worse. It could be very bad for him. Bad for us. Yeah.
No, if we lose the Senate, I mean this impeachment thing will go full. I mean, after he gets reelected, they're not going to stop. So if we don't take
they're not.
Yeah, if we don't take the House back,
crazy.
If we don't take the House back, there's going to be another 4 more years of this kind of crap, and they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
If Trump wins re-election and the Democrats keep the House, or they lose the House and they keep if they have just one of those chambers of Congress, they're good, and they get those committee. They have those committee chair people to be able to decide what kind of hearings to hold, what witnesses to call. It's going to be another 4 years of more bullshit. They're never going to let up. They're never going to give this guy a break.
No.
They're not going to do anything like
It's like I told the staff of Louis Gohmert from Texas. That guy's a really great guy, and every time the House Judiciary Committee gets together, he sticks up for the president, and so does Congressman Collins. And I went in there, shook the hands. I didn't really talk too much with them, but I wanted to shake the hands and let the staff know what a great job they're doing. But they said you have to see it for yourself, Carl. It's different between watching it on cameras, but you have to see the hatred in person that they have for this president. It's far greater than we can imagine, because a lot of stuff doesn't get recorded. Things get said behind the camera, and things that our Democrats are trying to do to our president is beyond the Watergate. Like, this is the worst of the worst. And some of these staff members are younger than me, and they weren't even born during Watergate or understand any of that. And when they're seeing it for themselves, the hatred for it's far greater than what the cameras are showing. That goes to show how real this really is, and how dangerous it is. That's why we must win the House.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of protests when you were in Washington?
No, I didn't. Not a lot of people showed up at that America First rally. That's where Maurice and everyone was. Not a lot of protesters at all. There was a couple people would say F Trump or F that if I was taking the public train or subway or whatever you call it. Public transportation, they call it down there. But other than that, that was about it. I had nobody try to assault me or nothing, thank God. But there's certain areas where I don't recommend wearing a Trump hat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's there was Pete the Patriot put out he put out a video a while back, and I shared it. I posted it on my wall in Parlor, and
Uh-huh.
he was taught the article that he was reading from, and it's, to me, it seems like a very likely scenario. How big a scale it would be, we don't know. But if Trump wins re-election, the only options the New World Order, these sock puppets of the New World Order, the only option they're going to have is to just stir up their base so much that their base goes out. They're going to block roads. They're going to block hospitals. They're going to block
Oh yeah.
people's buildings. And you're going to have a group of people
People are going
say,
to be
look,
getting
we've
hurt.
had enough.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And you're going to have, like right now, there's a post going around in Parlor that the 3%ers are looking for volunteers to do security at a Trump rally. And it's been making the rounds pretty well. I mean, it's got like over 150, 106. You got to understand, 116 retweets on a small site like Parlor is a lot compared to Twitter.
Oh yeah.
It's like when people, it's Parlor's a smaller site than Twitter, but it's growing. But
Yeah.
I mean, but all it takes is for one of these Antifas to come up to somebody who just happens to have a firearm on them. They're legal to open carry, and the Antifa's harassing them, and they pull out their gun, and then they just start, shooting people. Hope to God that does not happen, but see,
right.
think about this. And I am not. Let's hope and pray that it doesn't. But let's say if you got these right-wing groups come out, and let's say they clash with Antifa, because there's some right-wing groups that make Antifa look like the little rascals. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
But let's
Oh
say,
yeah, I know
let's
what
say
one you're
they
talking
start.
about.
Yeah. Hell's Angels is just one of them. But anyway, let's say that we had right-wing groups clashing with Antifa. Let's say they come out armed. It's possible they come out armed. Well, the left would hope. Let's say that one of the things that the left would hope for is, like, let's say right-wing groups, militia groups are coming out of the woodwork in some of these Democrat-controlled states. Well, National Guard may have to be called out, and the National Guard's going to have to crack down on the right-wing groups, because that's one of the things they're hoping for if something like that does take place. And with the current climate that we're seeing, I mean, I don't think it's going to be civil war. Let's hope to God it's not that, because we lose if civil war happened, then we lose our country. We lose our country, and there's no going back from recovering from that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Divisiveness.
Right.
But I think people are coming around. Young Americans Against Socialism has taken off, and they've actually red-pilled some people. I've been promoting them on my wall and Parlor as well. But it takes more than just these organizations. I mean, we got to have the conversations with people. I mean, I do it on a regular basis. I mean, yeah, you put yourself out there, but if you don't have the conversations, how do you change people's minds? I mean, it's there's not much, either you got to put up or shut up. And I choose to put up. So have the conversations, but find a way to start the conversations where you're not going to just, get somebody riled up. That's really the only, if people have conversations with people, that's the only thing that I could suggest,
Right.
It's like I tell Carl all the time, it's like, I tell Carl, these trolls that follow me around YouTube, it's like, I hope they come here to learn something, because if they're coming to get a rise out of us, it ain't going to happen. We don't do that. And some of them will find that we're more open-minded than they might think if they just, listen to us and give us a chance to talk, and like I've told Carl, maybe some of them do come over here to listen. Who knows?
Yes, definitely.
You
have no idea what an impact you can make on people, especially young conservatives today who are being brainwashed in the college university. It's like there's still hope, but I feel I think it's a parent's responsibility to tell our kids where they can go to college today, especially what our colleges, universities are doing to our poor children. you know. And I
Mhm.
think there's a way to make sure and instill in our kids who are attending these colleges how important it is not to give up the family values that they were raised in. And it's
Yeah.
sad that society wants to take everything that we teach our children and make it completely opposite. I don't know if you've seen
Mhm.
these videos of these protesters when it was during that climate change thing. It's like I saw
Mhm.
some of them act very, very strange. Like, I hope it's not drugs, or really, what if really this is a result of what our colleges are doing to our children? And what do we do to the children that are attending these colleges? And how do we wake up their parents? Or maybe the parents
Yeah.
don't care.
The parents probably don't care. That's
Mhm.
probably what it is. I mean, the
No.
parents,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're happy to happy they don't have to deal with these kids. It's like send them to college, whatever.
True.
Because if you want to go act the fool on
Mhm.
TV, well, they don't get shamed by like friends of theirs because they got kids acting the fool too. So it's like, it's like, oh yeah, there's your kid. Oh yeah, there was
Mhm.
your kid. Yeah, I saw your kid with my kid. Yeah, they're okay. They're idiots. Okay, whatever. Or a lot of these
Yeah.
parents are probably progressives as well. So they're like probably encouraging it and telling them to go out there and do this kind of stuff. But yeah, we covered that one
Mhm.
about a week or so ago. Before, I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, I guess, before that whole. Right before the impeachment thing, he had. Remember that they shut down a couple of streets in D.C. and they had that big
Yeah.
climate change protest there, and they had they remember we were talking about how logistically the logistics they had, they were really well coordinated. It was really smart how they did it. They had all these Wi-Fi speakers they were carrying around and everything. They had computer systems and like pro-life, you know this from just live streaming. They had like all this live streaming stuff mobile, and I've done mobile
Mhm.
live streaming in the field, a couple of events, but I mean they had it really. I mean, they had it really put together. I mean, as far as the cameras and the sound and
Yeah.
everything, they had it really, really wired good. These guys were professionals, without a doubt.
Well, they got the money to
Mhm.
do that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah. No, no.
YouTube
There
did
was.
not want to work in Washington. It was not YouTube friendly at all. If Facebook Live, no problem, but it just seemed could only do uploads, and then if I used a third party to record it, it still buffers. So, lesson learned. But yeah, I know what kind of equipment you're talking about and stuff like
Oh
that.
wait, so
Like,
they.
but
Oh, you had a hard time doing YouTube Live when you were in D.C.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
really?
with a third
Huh.
party app, yeah, like Steam Labs and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
can't YouTube Live off my phone because I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. But even if I
Mhm.
were using a third party app to record videos, I still notice the difference. But no problem using Facebook Live though,
Oh wow.
especially at the Trump rally that they had.
Mhm.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. But say, did you get out there to that? What was it? What?
America First rally?
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you get out there too?
It was really hot. I spent like maybe 2 hours there, but my main concern was
Mhm.
headed towards the Congress building because, believe it or not, it's in three separate buildings where the Congress and the Senate do work. So uh,
Oh
I had
really?
to go from one building to the other building, back to another building. Yeah, so it was very, very confusing. I got lost numerous times taking the public train.
Oh
So
wow.
next time I go, I hope to go with a group of people because I'll be less nervous, and then I will go in offices like Adam Schiff and not be afraid to say, hey, you know what, enough is enough.
Right.
I got
Mhm.
super shy when I met my personal congressman's staff, but then when we started walking around, I became less shy. But again, if anybody wants to go to DC really quick, before I forget, if you want a private tour of the Capitol, all you have to do is go to your local congressman's office in DC, and within that time that you're in DC, they'll set something up for a private tour. Do not take the public tour that they offer where you stand in line and wait an hour. Just go right to your
Mhm.
congressman and they'll be able to privately have a staff member tour you around, and you can go places that the public can't go. So just an
Yeah.
FYI. And the same thing if you want White House passes, go through your local congressman.
Mhm. You know. You know. When I went to, I've been getting, I've been going to my local meetings with my Republican Party, and
Hmm.
I think I mentioned this one on your show last time, Carl. Pro-life. I don't know if you were here the last time I mentioned this, but there's a movement circulating called Roll Exit, and I actually met the founder Oh, I mean, we just, like I said, we talked for a little bit. It wasn't like a, just, we just talked, and I told him I'd promote him, among my base parlor. But he's only got like, last time I saw, he only had like maybe 22 or 23 followers on YouTube. I don't know how many followers they have on Facebook or Twitter, but it's another movement. I don't think they want they don't want this movement getting any, going full steam ahead, because I don't think the Democrat Party can suffer another movement like Blexit or Legsit, because what he was talking about, Nathan Watts, what he was talking about was a lot of hardcore stuff, like how Hollywood does not allow people with real disabilities to act out in parts in certain soap operas and certain movies. Yeah, they don't. I mean, it's hypocritical.
That's true.
I mean, there are plenty of actors and actresses out there with disabilities that have a degree in acting that would love to have, a part that would be more than happy to probably play a part like that. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah. And it's because if they can play a part like that, it would go to show that, hey, look, we can act just like the next person can act.
Exactly.
But see, Hollywood,
like people with adult syndrome or Down syndrome. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it doesn't, they in Hollywood, Hollywood, who is so liberal and tolerant, doesn't even give them the time of day to allow them to have a part. I mean, if there is a movie like that, let me see it, because I don't know of one, or a TV show like that, because I don't know of one,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll go ahead. What were we gonna say?
No, go ahead. You're exactly right. What Hollywood does.
But I don't think that they, like I said, I don't think they could suffer another kind of movement where people are walking away from the Democrat Party. I mean, people say that the Democrat Party is going to be a minority party after this. They're going to be non-existent, but if we can't get our borders under control, and they just keep bringing people in, it's you may be.
And then we got the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, go ahead.
Younger generation like David Hogg, like the younger generation, David Hogg too. We got to worry about that. But go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean it's well, they're grooming him for politics. I mean, he's gonna you're gonna see him run for office, just like you're gonna see some of these other activists running for office here in the next few years when they become of age. I mean, it's like how I was talking about last time, where they're primarying. They need progressive candidates, and they're already doing their talent scouting. People who look good in front of a camera, people who can talk to a progressive base. I mean, they're already lining these people up right now as we speak, and they're looking for people of, like I guess maybe 20 in their very early 20s. Maybe the oldest is like 28, 29, somebody who can appeal to a progressive base. And you're gonna start seeing this, because I'm telling you right now, they're gonna start primarying. They've already started primarying moderate Democrats and conservatives out of their districts, out of any districts that they hold. They don't want any of these people in office. And see, that's where I talked about where the moderate, the Blue Dog Democrats have been purged from the party. They're still being purged from the party. I mean, and like you were saying, Carl, I'm kind of hoping. The reason why I say it like this is because, only if Pelosi loses control of the Democrat Party, and her establishment allies lose control, it's going to be worse than what the progressives are going to make it. I mean, the progressives are going to make it really, really bad. The establishment at least has control in certain situations, and they show, even though they're going, obstruct, they know to back off when they have to back off, even for a short period of time. But right. It is very, very concerning to me that Pelosi and her allies are losing control of the Democrat Party. Though I do not like Pelosi, I don't like Maxine Waters, but I would
Mhm.
rather see them than AOC and her progressive um, individuals. I'm sorry, I wanted to say another word, but I won't say it. I don't want to see the progressives in the Democrat Party. We do not
Yeah,
need these
I agree.
socialists at all. I mean, a
I
moderate
totally agree.
Democrat, yeah. I mean, I don't know, Carl. I mean, what do
What
you
do you
think
think,
about
Carl?
some of this?
What, as far as
What do you think about the far as the socialist mindset of these so-called 2020 Democratic presidential candidates and
well,
the
I
younger
think
ones like AOC?
well, it's funny. Well, I mean, I look more for like at Warren as far as what she's talking about as far as socialism and stuff. And and I'm not sure I can
Right.
quite figure her out because either she's sincere about it or she's not. Because she started off pretty much as a Republican, and if you listen to her from
That's right, she
2000,
did.
if you listen to her like from like 2002 and around those times, she said very she's talking about like how maybe she even wrote an article saying that gee maybe women in the workforce wasn't the best thing, and it really kind of destroyed a lot of identity of women and destroyed it destroyed the family, which destroyed the fabric of America. And she talked about, two people working. I mean, she went through the economics of it. She said, okay, basically, with one person working, your expectations were lower as far as what you wanted to buy. And then suddenly you had two people working, and then now you could buy more stuff. And then here comes a baby. And then suddenly,
Hmm.
you don't want to give up the stuff, so nobody wants to stay at home and not work. And so now the baby's being raised by somebody else, and of course that's causing friction at home, which leads to higher rates of divorce, which causes a breakdown of the family. She wrote all this stuff back in the early 2000s, really kind of like not right wing, but like conservative values. And then now she's got
Yeah.
like her finger in the air, and now she figures, oh, this women's rights thing, I'll jump on that. So I'm not sure how sincere she is. Maybe she's really sincere. Maybe she was always a secret socialist. But now she's talking about as far as you know putting $3.5 trillion worth of debt on us every year for Medicare for all, and we know a government-run healthcare system. They say 3.5 trillion. I guarantee that's gonna be a low estimate. So you're talking, maybe say
Yeah.
4.5. I don't know what it's gonna be. Who knows? But you can pull that. We
I think she
only
was Republican.
yeah, we only have $20 trillion a year in GDP right now. If she starts pulling out like a quarter of that to pay for this Medicare for all, which is not going to work, and it's going to be run by a bunch of bureaucrats in D.C., it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be the
Yeah.
same people you deal with at the
Well,
Oh
post
yeah.
office or
hmm
anywhere else. It's going to be who's going to be on the phone with you when you have an issue with your government-run healthcare program. So
It's
I
well,
don't
it's not
definitely
know.
only
Trump against Warren.
it it's not only that, but who's gonna, which agency of the government is going to oversee who gets the money? Is it going to be the Department of Agriculture? Is it going to be is it going to
Yeah.
be the federal government entirely? I mean, is it going to be is it going to be I mean, see, they want to, the federal government is what they're trying to make bigger. They want the federal government to overpower the other two branches of government. And, because, they, who was it that wanted $1,000 a year or a month for income for people that made like under 20 or 15,000 or like 30,000?
Hmm.
Was that Yang?
Oh, I mean, everybody gets.
And
Wait, everybody. I mean, the one where everybody gets $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
that
The
was
yeah, that was
that's
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
See, yeah,
universal income. But I think it was for every
yeah,
Yeah.
American.
and
It wasn't for every American,
yeah,
or
and see,
yeah, it's crazy.
mhm. Well, see, and it's like, what is he trying to do? I mean, it's even now, even with all the social safety nets we have in place, and all these, and this is for those. I'm going to use the term those who come to hopefully learn, right? Without a free market capitalist society, you can't pay for the social programs you want to see. I mean, Canada is still a predominant capitalist country, you know, because they have to have people generating incomes in order to tax them so they can pay for all the so-called free stuff that they want. I mean, one of my buddies is from Germany, and it's free college and all, but see, again, Germany still has a predominant capitalist society, or else you can't have the free stuff that they give out to the people.
Right. No,
I mean,
their corporate tax rate. We talked about this. Their corporate tax rate is only
yeah,
15%, we got ours
Yeah.
lowered down to 21%, which makes it competitive. But they have a lower corporate.
Yeah.
They're 6 percentage points lower than us on their corporate tax rate. So
Yeah.
and the reason why they do that to attract mainly U.S. money into Europe, because
Yeah.
you say, look, you pay less taxes here, so bring your money to Europe and have a nice day.
Yeah.
And so they're 6 percentage points
Yeah.
lower than us, and that's why a lot of American companies even go to Europe. Now, with it being only 6 percentage points, when you deal with all the issues with the unions and stuff in Europe, it makes it competitive for Americans to keep their money here. But when they were paying 35% corporate tax rate, then it made no sense. That's why Apple came over with $350 billion and brought it back into the U.S. because they got that little tax amnesty. They paid and they wrote a
Right.
check to the Treasury for like 37 billion, 38
Oh, I
billion
forgot
dollars.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they wrote a check for
Yeah.
38 billion, but they brought 350 billion in, gross less than 38 billion they paid in the taxes. But still, they brought that money in they didn't bring it in to buy yachts with, they brought it in to,
No.
build infrastructure here, like, new campuses and new new service centers and stuff like that, to hire people with.
Planned Parenthood just gave the Democrats 46 million. What was it? 46 or 48 million dollars in
Right.
endorsements.
Yeah. No,
So that goes to
yeah.
show you that why our Democrats are standing to kill babies, because they get 48 million some dollars.
Well, Planned
Crazy.
Parenthood's always used our tax money to back. I mean, and I mean, if I don't understand how I think Planned Parenthood, isn't it a tax exempt organization as well? Because if they're a tax exempt organization, because I know you people donate to Planned Parenthood, how is it that a company
yeah.
that is a 501(c) or supposed to be a 501(c), how can they endorse political candidates without having their 501(c)(3) revoked? I mean, like I
Great
said,
question.
this just goes to show, yeah. I mean,
well,
Judicial Watch
you
cannot donate.
you can be a political action committee, and
Yeah, but isn't there laws too of what people can donate and can't donate as far as endorsement goes? I mean,
There's
because
Well, they may have a political
whatchamacallit,
action.
there's some way to do
that
it.
one guy went to
Like
jail
when you
for
set up
that,
when you set up a
for-
non when you set up a nonprofit company, there's if you're going to be doing political contributions and your political, there's a bunch of different things you have to fill out and stuff like that. But I think you can still go nonprofit
like
and be,
Tennish guy, that
yeah,
whatever his name is, that guy
right.
who made those documentaries.
Right. There's more safeguards that go into it, but you can still be you can still form a nonprofit through the Internal Revenue Service. And if you're going to be political or making political endorsements, then there's all this other stuff you got to do. There's all this other paperwork. I mean, doing a nonprofit is a lot of paperwork to begin with, and then
Dan
if you do
Souza,
political.
that's the guy I was thinking of. Dinesh, the guy who went to jail for over endorsing people. or
Oh,
something.
Dinesh D'Souza.
I'd like to know when Rosie O'Donnell's going to go to jail for donating more to the Democrat Party than what she was allowed
Yes.
to. But
Yes, thank you. And
yeah.
admitted it too.
Yeah, I mean it's I got some one-liners about Rosie O'Donnell, but I'll be respectful and I'm not going to say them here. But I tell you what, they want one set of standards for Democrats and a whole set of different standards for Republicans, and it's not going quite the way they want it to go. I mean, there was, who was that? I remember a while back when the Las Vegas shooting had happened, right? The guy, what was his name? Stephen Paddock, I think.
Yeah.
That CEO that sent out the tweet that she said, "Oh, I'm not really that sympathetic," and Trump supporters, yada yada. I think that's how the tweet went. I don't recall, but it was a while. I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. But she lost her job over that, and she should have. Just like if a Republican was to make the same exact comment, I would expect him or her to lose their job, because we don't want to resort to that kind of pettiness, and people should be held accountable for outrageous claims and statements that they make like that. I mean,
Right.
Jesse Smollett should have gone to jail for staging a fake hoax crime. However, he lost his show. He lost. I don't know if he'll ever get work in Hollywood again. He probably will. He's got the connections. But he did not go unpunished. He should have been in jail for what he did. The city
Isn't
of
the DA still
Chicago.
getting investigated though? Isn't the DA Carl
Well,
still
I
get
think
the
he's
attorneys?
Well, no, there's a special prosecutor. Nothing bad will happen to him because
Uh
no,
huh.
but
his case was dismissed and it was dismissed with prejudice. They can't
yeah,
undo that. They're looking at like Fox, the DA. That was a George Soros person. You had Fox in Chicago. You had I can't remember the guy's name in Philadelphia. The guy in Austin and the lady in St. Louis. They all ran for DA within 2 years of each other. And they're all backed by George Soros, and they were all put
yeah.
in there pretty much to do
No
restore.
way.
Yeah, they were put in there just to do restorative justice. What's the guy's name in Krasniark or Krasny or Krasniark, the guy in Philadelphia. And when he came in, he fired 50 people out of the DA's office within 2 weeks of being in office. People that weren't, or no, 30.
Wow.
I apologize, 30 people. And they were like, senior deputy DAs, guys have been there for like 15, 20 years. Yeah, so I mean, he came in to clean house because they weren't going to have the same. Basically, he's into like no bail, letting people out, pre-trial releases without bail. Just kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
promise. Hold their hand kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where they are. So they're looking at Fox right now to see if she did anything untoward, if she was doing any dealings with anybody that she shouldn't have been doing.
That was her name, Kim Fox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kim Fox. She claimed she recused herself, but she really didn't. And
No,
and they're looking at any ethical issues there with her. But yeah, but Smollett can never get prosecuted for the crime. He's off scot free.
no.
What is up
But
with famous
he's
people? They just get away with stuff like that. I mean, isn't those people too also who let their kids cheat in college by taking exams and stuff and not going to the colleges that they should have gone to? You know who I'm talking about, Felicity Huffman or whatever those actors'
yeah.
names are. How come they're not going to prison? Like if that was me and my husband, if we were to did that with our kids going to college, we would have been to prison. Anybody would have
M-
went to jail.
Oh,
But it seems like Hollywood gets
my,
special treatment.
yeah. Well, Hollywood. I mean, let's face it. You're famous. It's like what was it? Jean-Claude Van Damme got pulled over for a speeding ticket one time, and I guess the cop. What was it? The cop let him go or something like that.
Really?
I
Huh.
forget when that was, but that was a while ago. But I'm just using that as an example to prove the point that yeah, I mean, I think Jesse Smollett is going to be sued by the city of Chicago because all those investigations cost a lot of taxpayer money, which could have been used for, I don't know, let's say, put into the police department or infrastructure. But, this is
Okay.
Chicago we're talking about, overwhelmingly liberal, Democrat held stronghold. And,
Hmm.
he should, say they pay, they waste about 2 or 3 million or maybe $1.5 million on an investigation, but he's only got to pay back about maybe 75 or 80,000 of that, depending on
Right.
what, if they do sue him, and that's if they win or if he
Hmm.
decides to settle out of court. But, I don't know what Jesse Smollett's net worth is. I don't know, but I mean, that doesn't matter. That's all beside the point. But, you know, even though he did not get prosecuted, he's still going to answer for this in some form or another. It's like the NFL player who, oh my God, what was it? He said that two white guys robbed my barber shop or some shop that he had, and he had those
Oh,
TVs
this
in the
article
back
is
of his
interesting.
truck, and
Oh no,
yeah,
it's
and they
like
still
he had
had
Yeah.
like a restaurant. He had a
oh
restaurant.
yeah, oh restaurant, oh
It was a
okay, and
It was a
it,
bakery and something
yeah.
else. It was a bakery and something or
Oh
something
yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and how is it that and how is it and then he rips off the TVs and it still has plaster stuck to the screws from the back of the TV. I'm like, yeah,
He's not very smart.
these
Well,
people,
he was a football
yeah,
player. He was a football player. I mean, what do you want?
yeah.
I mean, sorry. We don't pay those guys to be geniuses, okay? So,
No, we don't. I
right.
mean, I just, Carl, I wish these entertainers would just, if they want to get involved in politics, fine. That's their right. But don't tell me how I gotta vote and how I gotta do. I mean, these,
Well, no.
what we have.
Look. Okay, look. They have a right. Look. In a way, we're kind of entertainers also. We're just not famous, okay? And we're not rich,
Yeah.
okay? So
Hmm.
they just because they're famous and rich doesn't mean they don't have a right not to speak and give their opinion. Now, if
Mhm.
anybody's dumb enough to listen to them just because they're a movie star,
Mhm.
if they're talking a bunch of gibberish, and then you're stupid for listening to movie star. I mean, if they have no qualifications, they're not a student of history. They don't know politics. They don't read the news. They're just on Twitter all the
Mhm.
time, and you listen to them. Well, you're stupid. That's on you, but that's not on
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
Everybody has a right to
Mhm.
have a voice. It's just a question of if
Yeah.
you're dumb enough to listen to them.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
I listen
mhm.
to them for entertainment. I don't listen to them to get
Yeah.
any nuanced ideas on politics. I mean, because they don't have any.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, Carl, I'm a celebrity. You got a celebrity on your show right
Well,
now.
okay. You're all right. Okay, I
I mean,
do have a celebrity
but
on my show.
I'm
That's
not
right.
that kind of yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not that kind
You
of
are
a celebrity.
you are a celebrity. So, but yeah, no. I mean, they have
But
a right. No, they have a right to speak their mind. Now, if people in the same thing, if it affects their bottom line, if people aren't going to go see their movies because they have a left, well, that's on them. Then that's on them. I mean, and
mhm.
if people don't go see their movies because they're expressing a political view, they can't get mad. And I don't think
Yeah.
any of them has ever got. I've never heard a movie star get mad because somebody said, "I'm not going to see your movie because you're
Mhm.
expressing a political view." They're like, "Well, whatever." I mean, some of these guys make some really good change. Like what's his
Yeah.
name? Clooney gets like what, 20 million a movie. He shows
Yeah.
up. He gets $20 million a movie. So if somebody's not going to go
Mm.
see one of their movies, well, they really don't care. But no, they
Yeah.
have a right. They have a right to say what they
Speaking
want.
of
You just don't have to listen to
yeah.
them.
Speaking of movies, the Joker movie has the left. Now, I have not seen it, but what's interesting, the reason why I'm bringing up the Joker movie is because to me, the Joker movie kind of falls in line, not falls in line because they're different movies, but the same kind of ideology, like say with Black Panther, Captain America, Winter Soldier. What's really funny is that the Joker kind of, Paul Watson was talking about it, and he was saying like, the left hate this movie because it's violent and it's scary. They're watching movies like Friday the 13th, which are great movies by the way. I love those. You know, the hockey mask wearing guy, he's walking around, doing his thing. Same thing with Michael Myers, same thing, and it's the hypocrisy is so amazing that that they they want to demonize the directors, they want to demonize all the people that work on the film, and I have to say that sometimes these movies, these directors may be more conservative than they let on, because even the writers, because if they're making movies like this, like the movie V for Vendetta, right? V for
Hmm.
Vendetta is like, government should not, government should fear the people, people should not fear government.
That's a good movie.
And that,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's an example of, one of the reasons why our founding fathers created our glorious Constitution, because the Constitution, if the even and I encourage even those who are listening to us right now, hoping we're gonna say something to sound offensive, I would encourage them to educate themselves about the Constitution, because the Constitution restricts government, protects us from government. And these
Right.
these these
Right.
directors, when they make these movies, they'll take certain talking points from the Constitution and they'll apply it into their movies. Same thing with these writers. So it's funny
Hmm.
that even though people say Hollywood is overwhelmingly liberal, there's more conservatives than you might think in Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood really didn't
I never
go,
thought of it that way.
really did, huh?
I never thought of it that way. But keep going. I'm listening.
Well, no, but it just brings out an interesting point, because Captain America: Winter Soldier, I believe, was voted like one of the most conservative movies, superhero movies out there. I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I want to say that I saw that
Yeah.
somewhere on a review. Black Panther, the movie, the character who plays T'Challa, who is Black Panther, Chadwick Boswick's character, is essentially like his mindset is like that of Donald Trump. You know, these progressives, they say, well, Wakanda is a great place and yada yada. Well, guess what? Wakanda in the movie, first off, Wakanda does not exist. Second off, Wakanda had a shield over it. It had a force field over it. Why?
It had a
because
wall. It
they
built a
did.
wall. They had a
Yeah,
wall.
yeah, they did not want
I never seen it.
outsiders.
They didn't want immigration.
It's a good movie.
They
Yeah,
were anti-immigration.
Huh.
Yeah, they
I'll
kept
have to
everybody
watch
out.
it.
see,
They kept everybody
yeah,
out. Yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of
Now,
funny. I
see,
know.
in the end of the movie, right? When if you watch the movie from start to finish, when Black Panther's character was talking with his sister, right, and he was talking about buying some places to kind of, he was kind of opening up Wakanda to the outside world, right? But see, he was doing it with strict limitations, right? Very strict limitations. You know, you come, there's rules. You got to follow them. You don't, you're gone. If you cause trouble,
Right.
you're gone. And that's the thing that these progressives, they can't. Even in these movies, they can't see these talking points. They can't. They cannot. They can't understand. See, like why don't we see these progressives going and telling Mexico, hey Mexico, if Americans want to across the border, they should be able to, But they have this notion that we're the richest country in the world. We can do whatever because, they say, well, we need to stop fighting wars and financing wars. Okay. Well, I don't see progressive groups going over to the Middle East to advocate for peace. They don't do that.
Right.
What they do is they advocate. Yeah, they don't. I don't see the outrage in the progressive movement about all the concentration camps in China with all the people of the Middle East and their ideology. Carl, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, no. In fact, the one
in these
guy,
concentration
the one guy went to that NBA game. He was on Tucker Carlson. He held up a sign. He said, "Google Uyghur, like UGY, something like that." And that's, I guess, that's a group of Muslims who live. I want to say they live in Western China. And basically, the Chinese don't want anything to do with like Islam, so they put them like in re-education / concentration camps.
Yes.
There's like a million of them in these camps, and they're like forced re-education camps, concentration camps, and there's no outrage anywhere in the world. It's hilarious. Nobody bitches and moans about it because China's got so much money, like the NBA. I mean, they caved in 2 seconds because they make a fortune in China. The NBA makes a fortune in China. The NFL is getting ready to make a fortune in China. I mean, Nike makes a fortune in China.
I didn't even know any of this. I didn't know any of this until
Go ahead.
the media brought it up today. Who knew that China had a big impact with Nike and all that? I had no idea. Like,
and actually, our movies like remember when that movie came out about when they were going to assassinate President Kim in North Korea, and then Kim complained, "You better not do that," and they said, "Oh, it's bad. We shouldn't."
Oh yeah, that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Go ahead.
But yeah, and they said,
I never saw it.
yeah, they said, we shouldn't allow a foreign country to censor our movies in Hollywood. And somebody got on air and said, "Are you kidding me? We allow China to censor our movies all the time. In fact, they'll make a movie they can't really mention Taiwan by itself. It has to be China, Taiwan, stuff like that." Because China is the second largest market for U.S. made movies. First market is the United States, of course, and then China is right behind them, number 2. And so they want all that Chinese money. And so they'll purposely not make any anti-Chinese movies in Hollywood. They won't make any documentary. If an independent film creator makes a documentary against China, it won't get distributed anywhere. Nobody will touch it because the Chinese tell them, "Oh, I like the shades. Nice glasses. Cool. Good job."
Thank you.
But
sometimes I do that when I get a headache. But go ahead.
No,
It's fine as pressure.
Oh no, totally cool.
Yeah.
Keeps the lights out of your eyes. I get it. But yeah, the Chinese. I mean, the NBA just totally caved on them because the NBA players go over there all the time. They do endorsements. They sell. They get the red carpet. Chinese TV hosts NBA games. People in China watch the NBA on Chinese TV. It's a big market. So yeah, the NBA is like, well, we're woke, but we're not that woke because we're talking about literally billions of dollars. And it was good that it came out through that tweet because I agree, pro-life. A lot of Americans didn't know just how much China really controls so much of what we do over here.
See, I had no idea. I mean, I've always heard President Trump say we need to do less of it, but I never realized how much control they actually have. Until you actually, even when you go around, walking around, even in stores, everything today's just made in China, made in China. It just, I'm just tired of being used. Don't you? I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way. How long
Yeah.
is our country going to be used? You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that President Trump is doing these tariffs and stuff. Even though I don't really understand too much about tariffs, I am learning. But I had no idea that's how much China owned us and why the NBA kissed butt all these
Mm-hmm.
years, and Dennis Rodman, especially why he
Mm-hmm.
was so fanatic with China. It makes total
Mm-hmm.
sense now.
Yep. Look at what they can do. Trump's bringing in 30 billion in tariffs already.
Yeah, in the last year,
How
$30
much of
billion.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How much? Now
Yeah.
think about this, right? How much of this money is going to be used? A lot of this money can be used to go to inner city projects, can go to
Yes.
um, you know, child daycare services, even some of these socialist programs that these social safety net programs that these progressives want to see so much. I mean, a lot of these
Mhm.
tariffs can go into government programs for like helping low income families go to college for free. I mean,
Yes.
Trump is literally bringing in money for a lot of social safety net programs. And
Right.
these
He is.
progressives don't see it. They can't see it. I mean, Trump,
Nope.
Trump is doing so much for, believe it or not, for the progressives as well. Now,
Mhm.
now again, one thing about H.A. Goodman was that I don't think, well, H.A. Goodman used to be a big Bernie Sanders supporter, but and I would always ask those who support Bernie Sanders and his social policies, because a lot of what Trump is doing, Bernie Sanders would never have done. If Bernie Sanders wanted to see, say, socialism work on a capitalist free market economy, he would have to be doing the stuff that Trump is doing. He wouldn't have been aggressive like Trump is doing, taking on China like this. I mean, Trump is literally bringing in money for socialist programs.
Yeah.
Sorry, social safety net programs, and these
Right.
progressives don't see it. I'm sorry, social safety net. I don't mean socialism. I mean social safety nets.
Yeah, well,
I'm
plus
sorry.
plus the Chinese were hitting on the farmers, and they were saying, okay, if you're going to tariff us, we're not going to buy your farm products, and so they knew they were trying to create a wedge between the farmers and Trump. So what Trump did was
Yeah,
he took a bunch of the money from the tariffs, and he gave them like $11 billion in farm aid, and it was funny because that's one of
yeah,
those things that when you put it in front of the Congress, they have to. I mean, everybody has to vote yes on it. I mean, the Democrats included, even though Trump's
Right.
the one proposing it, because
Yeah.
Iowa's the
Was it
first
Nancy
caucus.
who visited a farm? Yeah.
Well,
okay,
I was the first caucus, and if you go against any kind of farm aid, you might as well throw the Midwest away. That's Wisconsin, that's Michigan,
yeah,
it's gone. In
mhm,
Pennsylvania, Ohio, a lot of farms out there, and so and especially Iowa is the first caucus, so every Democratic candidate was going to definitely vote yes on that. So that sailed right through. It wasn't even a fight. I mean, it
Yeah.
might have been done by voice vote for all I know. It went right
mhm.
through both houses. He
Oh,
signed it into
mhm.
law. Nobody even argued about it. It was hilarious. I just
Obama,
love that. He
yeah.
goes, "I'm going to give 11 billion to the farmers," and it just boom, there it went, and the Congress passed it in 2 seconds. There was nobody even talked about it on mainstream media.
And no, not even the media. It's not even
No,
Fox News sometimes, I swear.
No,
It's
yeah.
it's insane.
Well, I
Only
like.
newspaper I actually follow now is Epic Times, or however you pronounce that correctly, but yeah.
Oh,
Epic
Epoch. Yeah,
Times,
yeah.
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, because Obama, during the whole Obama administration, Obama was putting policies that were designed. He was pushing policies designed to cripple the Midwest and industry in the Midwest. And Trump is revitalizing, the farm. He was revitalizing industry in the Midwest. They're bringing back the factory jobs. Because they didn't see the whole thing. If you follow the Agenda 21, well, I won't say it's conspiracy theory, but I think some people think the Green New Deal was Agenda 21. Who knows? That's a different subject. But it was designed to get Obama's pushing policies designed to destroy the Midwest, so it would force those people into the cities looking for work, for a way to earn a livelihood, and you know, and going back to the Constitution, the founding fathers knew that there were going to be a lot of people who, they foresaw into the future that people were going to want to live out in the country. They weren't going to want to live in the cities, and they would need proper representation, just like those in the cities would need proper representation. But I don't know how successful Obama was at bringing a lot of people from the Midwest into the cities. I mean, I know a lot of the people who did come into the cities from the Midwest during Obama's administration looking for work have reestablished themselves in the cities. I don't know how many would go back out into the Midwest to live. But, it's the level of corruption, the level of anti-American hatred, even from companies. I don't think anybody was prepared to see how big it was. I mean, I don't think anybody had a clue. It still boggles my mind today when I see these companies. What does Tim Pool call it now? Get woke, go broke. The woke culture, and
Right.
you don't really hear Starbucks talking about it that much anymore. I'm trying to think. Oh, what's up? You okay?
Yeah, Shepard Smith quit Fox News.
Oh yeah.
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 He quit today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they still got one. They still got one Never Trumper left, Neil Cavuto, but he's not
Well,
nearly as bad.
but it's still.
He's
we
not
can
nearly.
throw a
He was.
party now.
No, Shepard Smith was the worst. No, even went after
Oh,
Tucker.
he was bad.
Even went after
Ron
Tucker
Williams,
Carlson,
too.
which was weird. Like, why would you go after Tucker Carlson? Because Tucker Carlson was.
Why did he quit?
I don't know. Like, a Great Informer was. We were talking about.
I'll
Talking
find
about
out
it, like,
right now.
yeah, we were talking about it where.
Wait a minute. He went after. You were cutting in and out. Sorry, Tucker. Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, my microphone sounded funny. You said
okay.
something about he went after Tucker Carlson.
Well, he went after Tucker Carlson because Judge Napolitano was on Shepard Smith's show saying that this phone call was impeachable or indictable or whatever. And so then he had Joe DeGeneva on Tucker, and DeGeneva said, look, Napolitano is an idiot, doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He was never a federal prosecutor. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And so Shepard Smith goes, oh, he insulted a Fox News analyst. We depend on him for legal opinions. And so then Tucker brought DeGeneva back on the next night, that same night, and said, well, what do you think about that? He goes, well, basically, like, he doesn't know what he's talking about either. Because I was a federal prosecutor. I sat grand juries. I did these kind of investigations. Judge Napolitano hasn't. He still doesn't know what he's talking about. He wanted to get a job on the Supreme Court. He didn't get it or whatever, and he's been pissed off ever since at Trump. This whole stuff like that. So yeah. So then, and then I guess I was talking to. I thought it was you, Great Informer. It might have been somebody else. They were saying how. Let's see what I was gonna say. Shit. Oh, how Rupert Murdoch. Oh, no, H.A. Goodman covered it last night. Rupert Murdoch was talking to William Barr about the coverage of Donald Trump, and then the day after that, then suddenly Shepard Smith resigns. So, yeah, go figure. It was kind of interesting timing how that all went down, yeah.
Carl, what we're seeing, obviously we're seeing a rise in the independent media, like people like you, people like Stexenhammer, H.A. Goodman, they're now direct competition with mainstream media. Mainstream media obviously doesn't want the competition. That's why they pressure YouTube into finding ways to, bump conservatives off of their platform. And now I've always said, YouTube's more friendlier to us than Twitter or Facebook, but it's going to be interesting to see if BitChute ever does start live streaming.
That would be awesome.
Once they start, because once BitChute starts live streaming, YouTube's going to have some hardcore competition after that. But again, these companies that go broke, that literally, like Walmart, Walmart does not sell. Walmart controls like 20% of the ammunition sale in this country. That's pretty scary because if they stop carrying ammunition, then that's going to hurt some of the gun manufacturing companies because they're not. I'm sure somebody else will pick them up.
But they're limiting how much you can buy now. In my state, they are. You can only buy like 2 boxes every day.
Oh, really?
Oh, so they
Yeah, in New
changed
York
that?
State they did. Yeah. Yeah, in New
Oh,
York State they did. Oh, heck yeah. There's a
oh, I
lot
thought
that
Walmart
people
had done that.
don't realize how
Mhm.
much he's changed. Como's a snake in the grass, and he's doing it very gradually. Like I've warned these veterans not to take medical marijuana because these red state flag laws are putting it into the condition. If you're on this medical marijuana, they can literally come in your home, the marshals, take your guns,
Right.
where you're proven guilty, and then you got to prove your innocence. And that could
Yeah.
take up to a year to
Yeah.
fight in court, cost lots of
Hmm.
A
money,
lot of money.
and good luck beating a liberal Supreme Court judge, because that's who will take the case, because that's who you
Yeah.
want to take the case. But then good luck winning that. So my question is
You
to
know.
tell
Mhm.
everybody: don't do it, don't use it.
Mhm. You know what I'd like to see the NRA do? The NRA needs to, and I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they do. The NRA needs to set up some kind of a fund to, and you'll have a lot of people donate to it. I guarantee you, you'll have a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
they
people
do
donate
already
to it.
have a fund
No, no. But
for
what I'm talking
for
about
like a
is, yeah, they
lawyer.
have a political action committee, but what they need to do is set up
Yeah.
a fund to help people that are the victims of red flag laws,
Oh
help them.
yes,
Yeah, that's what they need to do, because I guarantee you, if they
definitely.
do that, they will have money pouring in like there's no tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they need to
definitely.
set up yeah, they need to set up a like another kind of like political action committee where, and they have the funds to do it, they have the revenue to do it, where let's say somebody comes to the NRA, they file for the NRA's help. That person, the NRA represents that person to help them, him or her, get their, see where their constitutional rights were violated, because they would have to
Right, right,
investigate. Well, this is the case. This is the case. Okay, well, right here we see, you know, in this red flag law where you were accused of, your constitutional right was violated because, let's say, the judge didn't sign the warrant in the proper place, or the judge issued the
right,
warrant
right,
without investigating the claim made, because a lot of these liberal judges are going to
right.
jump on the opportunity to sign
Oh
warrants
yeah,
to seize people's guns. And the
oh
NRA
yeah.
really needs to get more on top of this. And this is one of the
Yep.
reasons why I say the board of directors in Wayne LaPierre, they need to step down and let a more aggressive team board of directors
Yes.
take the helms. Because
Yes.
my problem with the NRA is not the hardworking men and women, but my problem with the NRA is the people who make the
It's a
decisions.
higher.
They've got to
Yes.
go.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wayne
Yep.
LaPierre has got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry,
Definitely
I
agree.
get a
No, it's
yeah,
okay because my,
but
my, my governor's doing it right here in this good old state. And like I said, he's targeting veterans. And when crap hits the fan, are we going to want to defend ourselves? The great veterans. Once a soldier, always a soldier. And they're going to
mhm,
have to fight it in court. And do you know also, if a home intruder comes in and you shoot that person and they're not dead, they could try to sue you, number one, for injury. And number
yeah,
two, also the police will take your gun until the investigation's over. And then in this state, it's act of God to get your guns back in those cases too. People are still waiting
yeah,
a year after home intruders. It's like I didn't even realize law enforcement removes the gun. I thought and they just did an open case, but they actually take the guns from your home. Even if
mhm,
you just one gun, they take them all. And that is so
mhm,
unconstitutional that I don't even know what
mhm.
is.
The way that
I mean,
I
don't you agree,
understand the
Carl?
red flag laws.
Well, no, no. It's
Mhm,
I think it's unconstitutional because they put the burden of proof on you to prove you're not crazy. Okay, and
yeah,
that
Well, I get
right.
that, but to
Well,
remove
yeah. I mean
all your
that's
guns and
right. In other words, like they come and take your guns. It's like a pre-crime. There's no probable cause. There's maybe reasonable
right,
suspicion, and they come in and they violate a
mhm,
constitutional right. And anytime you're going to pass a law, like if you're going to violate somebody's First Amendment right for free speech, like if you're going to I know this because in the town we were doing English. We were doing like you couldn't fly the Mexican flag without flying the United States flag above it. It's based on a code section in the United States Code. So I had to research that, and basically, when you take away somebody's First Amendment right, you have to really show a huge burden to show that it's a huge security risk, and overrides the constitutional right. Like in this case, keep and bear arms. So, and then they make it worse because then they shift the burden to you to prove you're not crazy, and so that forces you to hire like pro-life that you were saying. It costs you a lot of money, not just for the attorney, because you got to hire an attorney to go to court. I mean, it's like me trying to fix my own car. I'm getting a lot of spare parts at the end. I mean, you gotta know somebody knows the procedure, knows what they're doing, and then you also gotta like say they say you're crazy. Well, you gotta prove you're not crazy. Well, the only way to prove you're not crazy is that you gotta hire a psychiatrist. You gotta go down to his office. You gotta make an appointment, couple appointments. You gotta meet with him, take all these tests, everything else under the sun. Then you gotta pay him. And this one gets expensive. You got to pay him to go to court because I'm not sure if the report itself is good enough. They may say, "Oh, we want to, we want him to testify," and who pays for that? I have no idea. My guess is you probably have to pay for it. And I've dealt with expert witnesses to get them to testify in court. You're talking minimum to get them just to go to court, forget all the work they did for you in the office, like $2,500 to $5,000. To get them to show up to court and testify. Yeah, and most people don't have that kind of money that's laying around. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And then your chances of a Supreme Court judge too is liberals in this state. It's crazy. But go ahead, Great.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and that's where the NRA I think can step in and help people with their legal fees and help them, if they qualify for the legal help.
Right.
They can step in. They can the NRA can take care of the person's legal fees, their court fees, and in some cases, if the red flag laws were unjustly, let's say if a liberal judge just unjustly signed the law seizing your firearms, they can maybe prove that your constitutional rights were violated and maybe even help against a lawsuit against that judge or that county wherever their constitutional rights were violated, depending on the situation. But in all fairness, I don't think the NRA is going to take that route because number one, it would be very costly for them.
Well, it'd be very expensive.
They would be so
yeah.
backlogged.
You're talking millions and millions of dollars to do that nationwide. They'd have to focus on one state that's really abusing it. Like I don't know how many states have red flag laws. I think it's about 20 maybe or 14, something like that. Like we have that in Nevada. We have a red flag law. I know California obviously has one. I can't remember what other jurisdictions have them, but I mean, just to pay for the legal teams and the psychiatrists to be able to come on in there. That's going to be expensive. They're going to have to be very selective on who they choose to represent. Again, I had this conversation with American Joe when I was in Wilmington, Delaware, and I was talking to him, and I said, "Look, you got to find a really good plaintiff. In other words, you got to find the guy who isn't crazy, who really isn't crazy, the guy who's completely sane.
Right.
And that guy then has to, not just have his guns taken away temporarily, but they keep him after a hearing, and then you have to take that one up from the." I guess the municipal court, wherever it is, Superior Court in California, take it up to their appellate court, take it up to their Supreme Court, and then once you exhaust the state remedies, then probably take it up to U.S. District Court, and then work your way up to the appeals court, and then to the U.S. Supreme Court. So you got the Superior Court California, then you got the appellate court California, then you got the state Supreme Court California, then you go to the U.S. District Court in federal, and then you go to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And then you get up to the U.S. Supreme Court. So that takes a while to get through, but you still got to have a good plaintiff. You can't have the nutcase like that one Marine guy that had his CCWs stapled to his shoulders.
Yeah.
And he wore a football helmet, and he was making all kinds of crazy statements.
Hey, Carl, give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
okay.
And even he admitted that he was crazy. The VA kept him in a psych ward, I think, for 2 or 3 months. Which, if you know the VA, they look to kick you out as quick as possible. So if they kept him there for 2 months, and obviously this guy had some serious issues going on. So you got to find a sane person to represent. So when you go there's no distraction when you go in front of the Supreme Court. They looked like the pro-abortion people. They looked really hard for Roe, whatever her real name was, to find her because she was a really good plaintiff. She wasn't some nutcase, and so it was going to be a good case to take up. So with this, we just got to find a good plaintiff that's willing to not be crazy that they come and take somebody's guns, and the guy, it was like some ex-girlfriend or some neighbor he's having a dispute with, and then you get like a really crazy
Right.
DA like in LA County or something, and a crazy judge in LA County, and and then you just work it up through the system. But
I mean, who to think where we are today, though, Carl, in a justice system where people are proven guilty first and then have to prove their innocence, like good people like veterans and stuff like that. I think that's why Como is setting people up. That's why he said, well, let's give them medical marijuana, pill form, smoke form, whatever way they can, the doctor chooses. I don't know exactly how it is in this state, but, and then he goes and adds it into the red state flag laws like a little snake. I mean, like I said, who's going to want to protect our community, our veterans? I know for a fact I've had family who served, and I trust them with guns. It's just sad that we have snakes like Governor Como who's setting our good veterans up. And they need to be alerted and realize it, because I hate for them to lose their rights. But literally, it could take up a whole year for them to get their guns back. I've already read people in the NRA comment section where they've already lost their guns, and they're literally fighting right now, tooth and nail, to get their guns back.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a quick process, because, like I said,
and it's unconstitutional.
I'll be honest with you, I think it is. I mean, for somebody else, pretty much somebody has to say is, hey, this guy's kind of crazy. He was acting nuts the other night, and he's got a bunch of firearms.
Yeah,
and then
a neighbor could do it.
Right. Oh, anybody.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a family member or anything. It could be your neighbor, like you said. It could be anybody. And then for them to say, and then you get some gung ho liberal like police chief or sheriff or mayor or whatever, and then off you go, and they come banging it down your door, and they take your guns out your house, and then you got to go again. And then if you're going to do it right, you'll probably want it to take a little bit of time anyway if you want to go in and win, because again you have to get your ducks in a row. You're behind the 8 ball. They already got your guns. They already got a hearing date, and you're like, hey, I'm not ready. I couldn't get my attorney.
And if this happens to you,
right. And you want an attorney. You want an attorney in there to get in there, write some briefs. Prepare some good arguments. You want to get the expert witnesses, your psychiatrist.
Right.
Some good character. I mean, this takes a few minutes to set up. So you're talking just before you're ready to go, probably get to a courtroom. You're probably talking like 3 months if you want to win. If you want to go in fast and lose, then your guns get taken away from you for who knows how long, a year, 2 years, forever. Who knows?
And then they have to pay for their psychological exams too, right? That comes out of their pocket too, right? Not the courts.
Oh yeah, right. If you want to, right. As far as I know, the statute doesn't provide that they'll pay for you to get a psychiatrist. I don't see that at all.
Right.
So you're talking again to go to a psych's office to do those tests. I don't know how much that costs, but I know to get one of those guys to testify in court, $2,500 to $5,000 to get him to show up to court.
That's crazy.
Because when you go to court, it's not like you go that you show up at 9 and you get hurt at 9. You show up at 9, maybe you get hurt at 2, and that guy's got to sit out in the hallway that whole time billing you. And so he'll demand a lot of money, and you want to hire a good guy, who's got a lot of credentials, has been published and stuff, and somebody comes in, he comes with a lot of credibility. Those guys are expensive. You don't want to get some guy right out of medical school. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's not published, and his credibility could be attacked. And they bring in their own forensic guy who's got 20 years in, and you bring in a guy who's old enough to shave barely, that kind of thing. But I tell you what, guys. It's getting close to around midnight for me. I know it's later for you, much later for you guys. Getting around midnight for me, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the live stream for tonight. But I do want to thank the Great Informer and Pro Life America 45 for the great video calls tonight. Thank you guys both very much. I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat tonight. Some really good chat conversation. I was able to post a lot of good stuff up on the air there, so appreciate that as well. And everybody who's been viewing us, and everybody will be viewing us later, so totally thanks. So, but anyway, for Carl DeFenis, Carl, have a great night, and we'll start with Great Informer. You want to say good night to everybody?
Hey, good night, everybody. Check out Disabled Vets Perspective and History Bee. Follow them. They're great. They're great YouTubers, and they, especially if you want to know about what's going on with China, follow Disabled Vets Perspective. He knows a lot about what's going on with China.
Excellent,
Mhm.
excellent. All right, Miss Pro
Yeah.
Life American, and definitely check out Miss Pro Life American 45 site. I'm sure most people on here are already on your site, but if you're not and you come by and check us out, then please check out Pro Life
Yeah.
American site. And I'll put a link in the description after before this uploads for Pro Life American site.
Yes,
So
thank you so much, guys. Like I said, we need to keep praying for our president and keep fighting. And like I said, let's hold our congressmen and senators responsible and make sure that they uphold the Constitution and stand up for our Second Amendment. I can't say this enough. That's one of our amendments that's literally under threat every single day in our country. And we need to stand up and fight for the good fight. Thank you, and God bless you, and keep praying for our unborn babies, okay?
all right, guys. All right. So, hey, have a great night. For
All right.
Carl's Opinions, is Carl and Cartman, and everybody have a great night. We'll see you on the next live stream. Take care, guys.